All right. So as I hear it, y'all had plenty of practice. So, go. Okay. Now, normally that would have been 5 days, and today should have been our quiz after finishing up the Chapter 2 stuff that we should have finished first semester. But me being gone for a day throws a wrench into things. So you got your daily quiz here after getting plenty of practice in. And we will just start into 3-1 today. Thursday, you will have your quiz. Okay?
This is 2.8B, right?
Correct. 2.8B. Okay, no guarantees what anything does. Just making up numbers on the fly. They might come out as fractions, might come out as decimals, might come out as whole numbers, might be your traditional OR inequality, might be one of those goofball unicorns. Who knows? Oak. What was the other part I wanted? Drive. Downloads. And you can go right there. right. When I see or, we've been through this enough times. Means solve two different ones separately. And then at the end, when you sketch your little graph, you have to look for where is one or the other true. Solve the first one. If I'm dividing by 5, multiply by 5. This part cancels. Got 25 is less than 3x minus 2. Remember, we've seen this enough times. You do not distribute 5 into the numerator. Okay? That'd be 2 5s, not a 5. Add 2 to both sides. Womp. Getting 3x greater than 27, or 27 less than 3x, divide by 3. And get x on this side and 9 on that side. Maybe we're not used to seeing it like that, so we pancake flip it around, making sure that my inequality, Pac-Man, is still eating x. Okay? Now, both are cool. We're just used to seeing the last part. The other one, curious. Who distributed first? Who divided by 2 first? Okay, that is a trick that you can do. That's 2 times a thing. I can divide by 2 right now if I want. Watch what happens if I divide by 2 and then subtract 9. The exact same thing as if you had distributed. Now, that's just a trick that you can do. Looks like most of us instead distribute. Subtract 18. Then divide. Okay. Now the question is what to do with it. See, if I was going to quick sketch that to see what's going on here, this one says x is greater than 9. That one says x is greater than or equal to negative 17. We wrote these down. This is in our packet. You should have a big section of 4 graphs for and, 4 graphs for or, saying what happens when they go the same direction. And when they're headed the same direction and it's an or, we always choose the bigger one. Because one, I'm pointing at Landon because he's behind you and he raised his hand.
Oh,
It ain't all about you. Okay?
I'm thankful for that.
Where one is true or the other. Well, at least one is true, at least one is true, at least one is true, at least one is true. So I just got to go with the purple one. This is my actual answer. I have to choose the larger of the two. So, pointage. Did you... You know what? I'm going to say you have to know how to graph by now. Did you solve correctly? Solve correctly. Did you know what to choose for the final answer? All right. So 2 for each part of the inequality. 1 for did you know what the final answer would be after you got that. Good? Okay. So before we go any further, we need to talk a wee bit. No. Oh, because I poked the thing. You. All right. You? All right. So today is the 8th, right? Yeah. We are going to do 3.1. You are going to do quiz 1. I suppose technically it's quiz 7 on Thursday. Normally we'd do that today. Things were wonky. Didn't feel it was fair to jump straight into it today. Plus, I honestly don't have it made up. Normally we get through all of 2.8 first semester. So I don't have a quiz ready to roll right now for just this stuff. After that, I'm hoping 3.2, 3.3. Oh, that's right. This whole class is sophomores, aren't you? We don't have any freshmen? No, we got one freshman. Okay. That's right. I forgot about that. Well, that definitely monkeys with stuff. Pre-ACT. Let's talk about that. Here's 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Waffles is what we always say when we mean something random. Okay. My boys usually, or my oldest, he usually has Eggos for breakfast, so I get it. All right. Hey, this. If it's about this specifically, okay. So, I want you to pay real close attention to what is between this Thursday and next Thursday. Midterm. That means that this is why I didn't want to rush into it and do the quiz today. That means you will only have one quiz on the gradebook for midterm. Okay? Well, it's good and bad. Depends how well you do on it. Right? Remember that there's typically 6 questions on one of our quizzes. They're not big. 5 points apiece. What happens when you don't graph 2 of the 4 problems? You just gave up 4 out of 30 points. You just dropped yourself immediately down to 91 even possible. Okay? So having one quiz and one quiz only in the gradebook before midterm means y'all need to lock it in for Thursday. Because if you just, give a half effort to it, if you don't really try, if you decide, well, I'm going to leave one blank, y'all got a calculator? What's 5 divided by 6? What percentage is that? Hold on. 83%. So when you just say, I'm not going to do number 5, just leave it blank, you just said the highest that I can get. If I get everything else perfect is an 83. So I want you all to be aware of that. My job isn't to get you out of Spartan time. My job is not getting you out of Spartan time. My job is to present the material, give you time for practice. Okay? My job is to make sure that we get through as much practice as we can and we learn something. It's up to you to get the extra something special. Remember, getting out of Spartan time is a privilege for someone who is doing very well. It's not the other way around. You're not being punished by being in Spartan time. It's saying, look, if you're handling all your business, you have earned something special like getting out. So my job is to just get you to here, and it's up to you if you are going to put, basically, you get a C or better on that quiz. If you've been doing your work, you're good for the midterm. But I just need you to be aware of that. You are only going to have 4 total things in the grade book at all for midterm. Which means that's also the only thing that's on the midterm is what's on the report card for parent-teacher conferences. Now, some of you, I got to talk to your folks first semester, and we had a discussion about everything that was offered, about the silver platter that this class is offered up on. And some of you, by that I mean like half of our class, you are in this room by an extension of mercy by your case manager. I want you to think real hard about how much effort you're going to put into that quiz on Thursday, because that's the conversation we're going to have with your folks at conferences the week after. What happens when I tell them, no, they don't have credit for first semester right now? They need to convince me. You know, this kid needs to give me a C or better for second semester, or else they will take the entire year over again. For some of you, I know that this class is literally the thing that makes or breaks you for graduating high school. Okay? So I don't want to just dump the whole world on your shoulders, but you need to know that quiz on Thursday will be the only thing that we're talking about, that and your finals from first semester. That's the only thing we're talking about for the midterm the week after and parent-teacher conferences the week after that. Okay, so please, I didn't want to jump into a quiz today after being gone on Friday. I want to give you some time to wrap your head around stuff. Make sure you're ready to rock for Thursday. Yes, sir.
Chloe and I have a competition with choir on Thursday.
You make it up.
Wednesday.
If you're gonna be gone on this Thursday, then you just have to come take your quiz on Friday, or on Monday.
So the 16th, right? It's on Wednesday, so it's next week.
Can we?
Yeah, don't worry about that then.
Impact. Can we do that again this year?
Freshman Impact is way down there, April 25th.
Yeah.
No.
Can we get it?
Sophomores did it last year.
Because you didn't have it as freshmen.
I didn't have it.
Wait, did we just get that day off?
Okay. So, some stuff coming up in this semester. 1, talk about the quiz, midterm, parent-teacher conferences. 2, on this day, the 22nd, pre-ACT. An ACT is the college entrance exam that most of the Midwest states use. There's ACT and SAT are the two primary, they're just testing companies, but you refer to the test as the ACT test. Yo.
So the guys that are out in the cafeteria.
What?
There was a college there in an army.
Oh, yeah. When you have college representatives who come here and say, ask me questions, I want to recruit you to come to our college. Well, they want your money. But to get into the college, to give them your money, to learn the things, to go to a 4-year school, you need an ACT or an SAT, but most of you will probably be, I doubt anyone here is going to go East or West Coast where they don't accept an ACT. Okay?
Do tech schools require ACTs?
Tech schools do not. To go now, they will accept an ACT, but a tech school, their minimum requirement is taking what's called an AccuPlacer test. You go to the tech school and you take it at that location on their computer. Okay? No, it just depends what you want to do. If you want to go to a 4-year school, you got to take an ACT. And this is the pre-ACT that our school pays for all sophomores to take. So on that day, because we have almost all sophomores, we just won't be doing anything in class. Me and Gavin are going to sit here and play games. Okay? I'll bring in my 64. I'll smack you around on Smash Bros. Okay?
I challenge you. I
OG,
challenge you.
OG, 64.
I'll challenge you.
Does that?
School of Mines requires ACT. School of Mines is one of the top 5. They are one of the top 5 engineering schools, public engineering schools in the country.
So I have to take that test.
So if you want to go to Mines, you got to take an ACT. This is the warm-up. This is the batting cages before the game.
So I don't have
Pre-ACT is the thing that you do to say, all right, if you keep on your current track, then when you take your ACT as a junior or senior, this is about what you should get. It's your warning shot. It's the thing that tells you you need to step up your game or you're doing fine.
I need to go to college.
To go to a 4-year school, most schools, correct me if I'm wrong, you got some upperclassmen, like even BH, it's 21, right? Oh, they'll take 18 and make you do remedial classes, won't they? Okay. 20, it's out of 36. A 21 on an ACT correlates to you have a 75% chance of getting a C or better in your freshman classes. You have a 90% chance of passing your freshman classes. So that's like the ground floor. So when BH will take 18 to get into school, that means you don't have what you need to have the best chance of actually passing your classes. They'll put you in remedial classes instead. Remedial classes are like, hey, you know how you never took Algebra 2 in high school? We're going to go make you take remedial math before you're allowed to take college algebra. Because you don't have the skills to go into college algebra. Okay? So ACT gives you a lot of information, a lot of data as to what to do with your life, which is why we have sophomores take it. Okay? So all of you, except you, will...
Wait, what?
Freshmen.
No, I was kidding about that.
Oh, I just figured you are a freshman.
Yeah.
I've had freshmen here. I've had seniors in this class. Okay. Like, legit, none of you are freshmen or juniors?
Nah.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be a junior.
So you'll all go take the test. So,
What is the junior status?
we don't have to worry about it because no one in here is a junior.
But
You'll do it next year.
I'm curious what it is for next year.
Those are the assessments that we are required to give to kids by the state. They use it for data to basically say whether teachers are doing their job or not, which is garbage because it doesn't affect your graduation or your scholarships or anything academic, so most kids just don't care. And honestly, a lot of teachers don't either. To be perfectly honest, I wrote some of the questions on that test. I did the pilot group and the editing for Smarter Balance when it was in its pilot. I don't think that test should be given to you. I needed the money. So,
Do you know if there's any disability, any disability helping?
accommodations on an ACT. I will tell you, and I know that our case managers will also tell you, y'all, accommodations on an ACT are brutal to actually get. we have to fill out what? Like forms and forms and forms, and you have to have documentation and proof, and you've got to almost set up a court case to get a 10 or 15-minute extension. It is bonkers what they will or will not allow, and unfortunately, the ACT is all about, do you know how to do a test well? Less about the content, more about, can you test well? So, sorry, but on that day, 2 weeks from now, you all are just going in there, and that is driver's ed for college tests. This is the practice mode. This is the learner's permit. This is try as best you can so you got an idea of what to do with your life. Because that'll tell you kind of whether you're headed down the academic path or we're going to try to get you into our tech schools. Okay? So,
I won't be here for the pre-ACT.
do we have makeup date for that for kids, or is that just a one and done?
That's a good question.
I know we do for NWEA and Smarter Balance, but I don't think we do for pre-ACT. I think you might just be off on that.
We did talk about a makeup day, so.
Now, you can do the pre-ACT privately. In fact, that's what it used to be. It's just the school pays for it because we get decent data out of it. Okay? But I just want y'all to know what the next couple of weeks are looking like, what we're going to be doing. Again, lock it in on Thursday because that's your only grade for midterm. Okay? And then y'all be doing tests that day. Oh wait, if no one's in here, I get work done that day. Score. End of semester 5, freshman impact day. Okay, yes, last year it was freshmen and sophomores, but that's because the world exploded and that freshman class, or that last year's sophomore class, current juniors, they didn't get freshman impact. So they went last year with the freshmen. Okay? State assessments, you don't have to worry about it. Some of your classes, maybe you'll have some kids gone, but that's about it. Advisory day, career fair, that's not the one that the sophomores do, right? I know there's one that's all grades and there's one that's only junior senior.
Junior and seniors already did this, so maybe this one is the sophomores.
Okay. I just always have kids get me pens.
Yeah.
I like the pens that got the little nubbin on there so you can write on your phone.
Oh,
So.
stylus?
Yeah. So, there is a rundown of what we're doing. But for today, ow. Whew, that's better.
What does college algebra look like?
You don't want to know.
I want to know.
I want to know. I watched my sister do college homework and we did not. She looked at me. I wonder that that's a thing. What is that? Don't look too bad. That does not. That don't.
3x minus 2.
That don't look like it. It's worse than what you think about it. What?
EX fixed to figure power minus 2x.
So you just times 3x.
No. All right. If you could, I would give you an A and tell you you don't have to come to class for the rest of the year.
Hold on a minute.
I am that confident.
I'm just a
If any of you could actually solve and graph that, then I would happily get a face tattoo. Okay?
I would happily do that.
Get a forehead tattoo.
Okay, no.
No, it'd be like the screaming Channel Fireball logo. It'd just be a mouth on my forehead going,
But what if I actually did something?
open your packets, 3-1.
Face
Test. That'll hurt the most. The spot that don't hurt is hurt.
Folks, we have already done graphing by table. Graphing by table was poke the buttons on your calculator to find what y goes with this x. Hopefully you all have a calculator by you. Hopefully you're all confident in its use, particularly with parentheses.
I have no idea how to do that. The function is not like the one that I do on your digital calculator.
Do you get up too fast?
So bad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get up too fast. May I go to the bathroom and go to bed?
Dude, the time to do that was while we were talking about test stuff. If it's emergency, you gotta go. Go. Don't take 10 minutes. You know what? Fine. Go. Y'all learned first semester what happens when you're gone. Go. Linear equation. You see the word right in there. Specifically, you're going to spend some time here on lines. You all learned this last year. Do you remember y equals mx plus b? Okay. You ask your parents what is algebra. And if they haven't touched algebra in 25 years, they'll probably say, oh, y equals mx plus b. Because that's the only thing they remember because it was drilled into their retinas. Okay? What I would like you to write next to this instead is y equals rise over run x plus, do we want to say start? Do we want to say with these little arrows next to it saying plus, minus, and to the right. See, mx plus b has slope and y-intercept. This should all be a refresher for you. The b part of the equation is the y-intercept. Intercept means I cross it. Y-intercept, I cross the y-axis. So that's usually where we start our graph. We're going to put a dot wherever that is. Then we'll use our slope is our rate to make more points and connect the dots. Okay. Slope is, maybe we need to write that part. We'll come back to it later in I think the next section actually. Your slope is rise over run, where your rise is always up if you're positive, down if you're negative, left to right like a book. Do you remember last year doing these problems and maybe your graph was always the exact opposite direction of where it was supposed to go?
Yes, I do remember that.
Okay. Like, I started at the right spot. I even went the right steps. My steps just go the wrong direction. Okay, and it was because if I'm saying I rise and run, well, what happens if I apply my negative to both instead of just one of them? What happens? Then I go back that way. Oops, you got completely the wrong ratio there. I like saying this because if I always start and then I go to the right, positives go up, negatives go down. If I'm always going to the right. Now, we're going to have different instances where we're going to change that, but it's a good starting place. What you might have seen before is this. The slope is how much did my y's change over how much did my x's change. It's really nice when you have it as a graph because then you can just count boxes. You don't really have to math, you just count boxes. And that's how we're starting, is we're going to do tables and we're going to count boxes. Okay? So, four, three, two, one. So, if I'm going to graph with a table, this is something that we did first semester. I have a table, I plot points in it. If this is my equation, I'm going to take turns putting -1, 0, and 1 in there. So, what's a negative -1? -2. Ta-da! So I can go make a point at -1, -1. Dot. -0 to 0, -2. So I have a coordinate at 0, -2. No left or right, straight down.
Didn't you do something similar to this like last semester?
I've said that 3 times now.
Okay. I thought
And -1 is -1. -2 is -3. So at 1, -3. So those are right smack in the middle. The reason I made those dots already is look at their table. You see how they goofed up? Instead of -1, 0, 1, they said -2, 0, 2. Can you figure out the pattern though? When I come to -2, what is the y going to be? Follow your steps. If I have steps here, here, and here, literally treat them like steps. Da-dum, da-dum. At -2, I'm going to have a 0. At 0, I had a -2. What's going to happen when the slinky goes down the stairs? Please tell me you have a straight edge. At the very least, every one of you should have a school ID on you. Okay? School ID, phone case, edge of your book. Okay? Walmart gift card. You got something on you. Use your straight edge to connect the dots, and I want you to really listen to that. Straight edge to connect the dots. 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 When I see on your paper, and you know who you are, one, you didn't use a straight edge and you didn't even try to be neat. Two, you didn't cover the whole graph. You have part of the graph. Okay? Please, do it for real. Okay, the way this should look when you're done. I'm just making more points so my line doesn't suck because I can't use a straight edge.
you know if you hold on the line and make it straight.
You know that when you do that, you have to automatically line up the beginning and end points to do it, which means you would have to have drawn a straight line anyway. Believe me, I know how to use a smartboard. I've been told that I use it more than most teachers. So, that's your fallback option. That's your nuclear option. I can always graph by table. If I have no idea how to graph something, I can always graph by table. That is my deer hunting with a bazooka option. Burger. Well, got him.
I think it wouldn't.
Okay, it is overkill.
Maybe less than a burger. I think it'd be a pile of hash.
Well, you've never seen explosives with a body then, so. Example 2. Graph the y-intercept. Do you remember which of these numbers was the y-intercept?
No.
Okay. Y equals m x plus b. So my y-intercept is 1. I'm going to go to the y-axis. Put dot at 1. Graph another point using the slope. Remember that the slope is rise over run. Now the catch to this is that it was a negative number. So that tells me if I have a negative 5 halves, that tells me down 5, right 2. And I want you to get used to that because in the past I've had kids get a lot of success with putting their little arrows next to the fraction for the slope. It's a negative, down arrow. Run to the right. And now it tells me exactly what to do. Go down 5, right 2. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right 1, 2. Go up. Well, please tell me we can do this. Negative 5 halves. If I say that that's down 5, right 2, if I run out of room, what could I do instead? The exact opposite, right? Up 5, left 2. So from this point, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, just a little off-road, left 2. Grab a straight edge. The reason I did that other point is because 2 points technically makes a line. That's even an axiom that you'll do at the beginning of geometry. But 3 points is how I know I'm right. Because if you screw up one of your points, then it doesn't quite line up. You remember your ruler kind of hitting like 2.5 points. It just wasn't quite right. Okay. But if I have 3 points and they're all on the same line, I know I did it right. So.
Wait, what was that blue dot? That number?
From the yellow, I went up 5 and left 2. Up 5, left 2. Which meant I had to go a little bit off-road. A little bit off the graph. So I really want you to dial in on that. How that slope works. I'm going to come over here. This guy has a slope of 3/4. So from my y-intercept, I go up 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3, 4. That means if I can go up 3, right 4, then I could also go down 3, left 4. And from here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Well, that was over the top of it. If I do rise, then run, couldn't I from here go down 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3, 4? Okay, so you count your boxes. I want you to get used to putting these arrows next to your fraction. Because one of the biggest things kids screw up with these is they got the numbers right, they just go the wrong direction. Okay? That also means I can do this again. down 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how we're going to find other points to make sure that we are getting our points correct.
Put arrows with equation.
What?
Put the arrows with
Put the arrows next to your fraction that represents your slope. What happens if I don't have a fraction? What if it was like that? So off to the side, I would do this. It's positive. I go up and to the right. Or I could go down and to the left. It tells you what to do, which directions to go. Get used to those arrows. I've seen kids all the way up in Algebra 2 use those. So, we'll start with table. Okay? Yes. Start with the table. Plug in -2, 0, 2. Plot your points. You notice how they have the parentheses written there? That's how you type it in your calculator. Now, don't go to the Y part. Okay? Unless you know how to use the table on there. Is that where we're going?
I think so.
Okay. Now, can you plot those points? Plot the points. X is left and right, Y is up and down. Oh, graph it.
Oh, graph it? Alright.
outside of 10. Would be a 10.
Yep, and then you tell me.
Over what?
Okay.
Yeah, right one.
Okay, that's where I'm at.
And then
Y'all got the points right from the table? Y'all get used to this. Oh, no, that's the wrong color. Wrong color. Means something prettier. There we go. X is left or right. Y is up and down. What I've had kids do with these in the past is next to these, they'll write what their directions are. This is down 2. This is no up or down. This is up 2. I wrote those backwards. Left 2. No left or right. Right 2. down 5, up 15. Tell yourself what they're doing. And then left 2, down 5. Left 2, down 5. No left or right, up 5. Right 2, up 15. Right 2, up 15. Grab a straight edge and hope we don't suck. When you do this, run it all the way off the map. Show yourself that this goes forever. All the way off the grid, and then your little arrows at the end. Goes forever. Y'all got the thing? Okay. So we're doing good with that. Again, but now it has a fraction. Do you remember what we said we need, what numbers we should pick when it has a fraction?
Bottom.
Our denominator.
Then you multiply that and do the both.
Since that says something over 2, pick numbers that are divisible by 2. You notice this time they didn't say -1, 0, 1. They said -2, 0, 2. Because this way they'll come out as whole numbers instead of fractions. They told you what numbers to plug in. Go plug them in. Graph. Get it. Don't stop. Get it. Get it. Yes. You got the right numbers. Or wait, no, we don't.
And
Well, I think you just took 2 times instead of 1/2 of. Here. Fraction mode. Alpha, y equals. Gets you fraction stuff. So now you can just type in -1, arrow down, 2. Arrow over, say you're done with fraction. Parenthesis, just like they wrote it. There you go. Parenthesis. There you go. -2. Minus 3. Minus. Oh, there you go. Ta-da, enter. And now the fun part about that is you can arrow up, say, do that stuff again, but turn that into a 1, turn that into a 0, turn that into a 2. Yep. Delete will get rid of a single thing. Okay. So making your table there, right?
What just happened?
It reset. So alpha y equals is your fraction stuff.
Alpha y equals and then enter.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, there's a bunch of different types. Like this is mixed numbers. This changes from regular fractions to mixed numbers. This changes fraction to decimal.
Regular fractions. It's
And like
just alpha.
they do all kinds of stuff.
Wait,
But,
it's alpha y equals
Yep.
then enter?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the only part we care about.
Okay.
And you can even keep stacking them. A fraction within a fraction within a fraction.
Jeez.
Gets pretty funky, right? Yes, it is back. So we'll do alpha y equals a fraction. -1 half parenthesis, just like it says right here. Parenthesis, -2 parenthesis minus 3. And I can cheat instead of typing it again, and then put in a -1. And then cheat instead of putting all that in and put in delete the -0. See how it just keeps going. You see how every time we used something divisible by 2 came out nice. If it wasn't divisible by 2, came out ugly. So that's why they're choosing those numbers, because they're divisible by 2. Okay? Now that you got the points, just plot the points. Get those 3 yellow dots and connect the dots with straight edge. What's up?
Can I go ahead and then just take a nap?
No. Wait.
It's easy.
Okay. Prove it. Do that. That's what's next anyway. Okay, does everyone got this?
Yes, but I got it wrong.
Well, then you didn't get this. Okay. Please, y'all, this is like fundamental must-know math for high school.
Are you required to take a math class? I think you have to take sciences too.
If you want. Oh yeah. If
Well, I mean, I understand why for.
if it doesn't. There's some classes that are called generals.
So I don't have to take biology again if I'm just going to go to college.
How much?
You would be required to do they would call it a biological science, and you would have several to choose from. College biology would be one of them. Another one might be physiology and anatomy. Another one might be earth sciences. Another one might be. It's going to have something that involves you cutting open an animal.
What kind of math is involved with college biology?
At a minimum, college algebra and stats.
What do I have to take to get a job?
At a minimum. At a minimum, college algebra and stats. College algebra is basically algebra 2.2.
What do I have to What?
A job at 5?
5. It's a VR company.
Working in IT sector, minimum Calc 3 differential equations.
Shucks.
Shucks.
So, uh-oh. Did I just hear what I think I heard? All right. We're almost there because this is about to die. So the other part is using slope and intercept. Again, this should have been drilled into your head last year. Identify slope and y-intercept. Your y-intercept is 4. Go put a dot at 4. Your slope is negative 5. So right next to it, it's negative. You're headed down and to the right. So its rise is down 5. Its run is 6. From this point, I will go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Uh-oh, dead.